Hello, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I'm Soul Song Sage, and in today's video, we're just going to take a look at what you need to know right now. So this should be a pretty straightforward message, looking at a few different areas of your life. So hopefully we can keep it short and sweet. The last video, I think just the number of positions and the amount of cards that came out made things, it got a little muddled. So just gonna try and keep it short and sweet today. But to start, I want to get a card from the BTS Song of the Soul Oracle. This is going to be representative of your overall current energy. So let's see what we get. Oop, oop. All right, they fell on the floor, but we have two. Don't worry, love, because all of this is not coincidence. We are completely different, baby, because we found our destiny. The song is DNA. Keyword is synchronicity. And then we also have yet to come, heading towards that day more like ourselves. The keyword is alignment. And both of those have the purple microphone. I think I would rather try to stick both of those in the same one than use the diamond holders. I have them there just in case I get extra cards, but I think that these work a lot better. So maybe I can just scooch these. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the oracle cards that I pre-shuffled, and then we can take a look at these cards in relation to these guys. We have a wild rose, the pioneer. It's a prairie rose, number 13. We have Hecate, the in-between, number 20. Then we have number 39, you are the truth seeker, awakening, actualizing, transcending. How can you invite more grace to guide you? And then the last card we have is dioptase, and the key words are heart healing. All right. It looks like the overall energy, you are in a sort of liminal space. You are like in between closing out one chapter and starting a new one. It's interesting because I'm getting one message from these three cards and another message from these three cards. And they don't contradict each other, but it's just interesting how these cards relate to one another, which, you know, I guess I should just shut up and get to it so that you can understand where I'm coming from. But with the in-between and the pioneer, this is talking about moving into the unknown. And it's interesting, most oracle cards don't have reversals. Like most guidebooks don't include explanations for if the card comes up in reverse. So I usually don't pay attention to them. But knowing that this guidebook actually does include meanings for both upright and reversed, I wasn't sure how to read this card because it came out sideways. So I think that maybe I will just talk about both meanings. Because I think that, well, for some of you, you might resonate more with the first message. For some of you, maybe the second part, but it could also just be a little bit of both, because the pioneer, this card is talking about moving into the unknown. That's not to say there's no fear or, you know, misgivings about it. It can absolutely be an uncomfortable thing to, you know, move into new territory. But it's talking about doing that anyway. Whereas the in-between, this card is, well, I mean, it's literally in between. Like you're still closing out the old chapter. So like upright, this card, it focuses more about coming to terms with the past, which is where this card also talks about about healing, really. So that's like the other part of the message that I was going to get to, but it is coming to terms with the past and seeing like the purpose of the things that happened in order to move forward. I don't think I'm explaining that well, but maybe I'll just read that passage in the guidebook in a moment. But this card in reverse, it talks about like maybe you just need to move. Like don't stay stuck in the in-between for too long. And with like this card of the pioneer of saying, talking about moving forward, and even with yet to come, heading towards that day more like ourselves, moving forward in alignment, I feel like there is, it's kind of like, on the one hand, appreciate where you are, appreciate that you're in this in-between phase and you have this healing to do. But at the same time, start to open yourself up to, moving into the unknown. I don't know if I emphasize that correctly to make sense of it, but let me just start by reading this and then we can get into it a little bit more. Let's see, number 39. Here we go. You are the truth seeker, awakening, actualizing, transcending. You're stepping into a new chapter of your life, which may feel like a whole new reality. This is a testament to the inner work you've been doing. You are transforming at your core. You are in the process of transmuting your pain and suffering and can now see its purpose. You are on a path of greater understanding, leading you toward your divine truth. As you awaken into a version of you, illusions, miscommunication, self-sabotage, and pain no longer resonate. You are healing your heart, and in this process, you awaken to your core truth. Only you know what is best for you. Use discernment in this phase. Trust your inner guide and align with what feels right for you at a soul level. Just like the woman in this image, your transformation can feel like descending a rabbit hole of new knowledge and life truths. The more you learn, the more you awaken. The more you free yourself from the confines of the past, the more you discover, and with this, the more you feel the free fall. But with each new step, you emerge to a higher vibration and frequency, past all illusions separating you from the truth, which is love. Embrace this time. It is a sacred journey into your own heart. And then the divine assignment. If you feel that as if this new reality is not yet here, worry not. This card reminds you that you are awakening right now, and self-actualization will set you free. Keep doing the work, discovering new truths, and following your heart's pull. Your transcendence is transforming you. You have learned, seen, experienced, and grown too much to go back. Welcome to the real you. Relax into your new awareness, for your soul has been craving this arrival. Enjoy the transformation and awakening. So sorry, I don't know if I was holding that very well for you to see on the camera, but definitely this card relates very heavily to it. It seems like this in-between phase is definitely you becoming more in tune with who you are on a soul level, who you are as like your authentic self. And there definitely, with the heart healing, there could definitely be a lot of emotions coming up that you have to work through. And maybe it might seem random. You're like, there's nothing going on that should cause me to be so emotional, but it's a sign of you healing. It's a sign of you, sometimes when we're going through a difficult time, we can end up like sort of numbing our pain or repressing it without even realizing that we're doing it. And as we grow, as we raise our levels of consciousness, as we become more in tune and getting more into alignment, sometimes those old emotions surface and you might be going through a sort of purge of that. And although that like might not be the most pleasant experience to go through, like this is allowing you to move forward without bringing baggage from the past. It's also allowing you to get more connected with your true self. So there's definitely, like this could definitely be new territory for you if you are, maybe you are becoming more spiritual, like spiritually minded, and just seeing things from a different perspective. I think that that's like, this overall sounds like what's going on, like on a soul level, personally to you. And then when we get into the tarot, we're going to look at like love and relation. I can turn these over now since I'm mentioning it, but love and relationships, career and finances, spirituality and personal growth, which I feel like this is sort of touching on already. And then we'll end with some guidance. But what's going on personally is obviously going to have an effect on different areas of your life. And it may feel a bit uncomfortable, but like, this is you moving into alignment. I feel like with this synchronicity card, DNA, you may be seeing a lot more synchronicities. You may be seeing signs or like things like just reoccurring, signs, but like maybe you're not sure if that's just like a coincidence or if it's actually like has a greater meaning to it. And I would say that this is like, whenever you see those recurring, like whether it's an animal, whether it's a number, whether, like whether you just keep hearing the same word pop up in conversations, like whatever it is, like understand that that is showing that you are in alignment, that, you are in just more present. It's a sign that you are more present, that you're spending less time caught up in your head and more time with like what is. And that is also what allows some of those buried emotions to surface, is for you to just be in a place where you allow yourself to feel them. And that's also what transforms them. So it like, you might have to purge a little, but or as this card was talking about, you may also, as these, like whether it's memories from the past or just like emotions that you're not even sure where the source is, it's like, as you go through this, you're going to understand lessons from those past experiences, but also like the opportunities that came with them, how they allowed you to grow, how they allowed you to be in this position of like new opportunities. But I would say, like, I am curious if like the new opportunities and like entering into the unknown with like both of these cards, really, the Pioneer is like uncharted territory, moving boldly into uncharted territory. And then the in between, it's like letting go of this past stuff is also allowing you to move forward into a new version of you, a new version of your life. So I am curious to see, like, is this new beginning, like, it on one level, it's absolutely like a new way of being, a new way of living your life, a new perspective on life in general. But it could also be like a more literal, tangible new beginning in your life. So maybe let's go ahead and start getting into the tarot now. So let's see. Let's just start off. Let's just go one at a time. Sometimes I think it's easier to pull all the cards, but I feel like these are very distinct. So, I mean, different areas of your life can always affect one another. But I'm curious to see what it is that you need to know about love and relationships in your life, especially in relation to this energy that you are in. What does the viewer need to know about love and relationships? Ooh. Okay, so we have the Hermit, as well as the Five of Swords in reverse. I'm going to put those here for now because I feel like you can see them better. But it is interesting that for the category of love and relationships in your life, that we get the Hermit card, which is a card of solitude. But that's not to say, like if you're in a relationship that you need to end it and spend time alone or anything like that. It's just, I think that what you need to know is that there needs to be some time set aside for yourself. It seems like you are going through a lot of healing, a lot of growth, like on a personal, spiritual level. and really coming to understand and know yourself better so that you can stay in alignment with your authentic higher self, whatever you want to call it. But it's definitely a time for introspection. And like I said, that doesn't mean don't hang out with your friends, put an end to your romantic relationship if you're in one. It's just making sure that you have that time for yourself in order to give yourself the space to work through emotions and heart heal. But that will also strengthen any relationships you have, because it allows you to heal and release any baggage from old emotional wounds, old relationships. But with the 5 of Swords, I am getting the sense that in some cases, it's best to just walk away. This is like the 5 of Swords to me just indicates situations where there are no winners. It's like if people's egos are involved, it's like it's not even worth arguing, right? Because it's like they're missing the point of what is really important in the situation. So it's like, don't even bother. It's like, pick and choose your battles. Walk away from situations that you need to walk away from. And that could be literally leaving some relationships behind and spending more time alone. Or it could literally just be like I said, like, pick and choose your battles. You don't need to argue. You don't need to be right. You don't need to have the right word, or I'm sorry, the last word in every argument. Sometimes you should just let it go. And not to say that that's like letting the other person win, even if you disagree with them. It's like, sometimes there's just like, if people are so caught up on like the level of their ego, especially because I'm feeling like with these cards, it's like you are healing ego wounds, but like in doing so, that allows you to transcend your ego and see from a higher perspective. And like sometimes you can't tell, what's the saying I'm looking for? You can't tell me nothing. Like some people just are they are stubborn, they're set in their ways, and like it's something that they have to figure out on their own. It's like parents telling their kids what to do. It's like sometimes kids just have to rebel and make a mistake and learn the hard way. And it's like sometimes that's honestly, unfortunately, the best way to learn their lesson, right? But if like a kid is too timid to ever do anything, except be obedient, like a good obedient child is going to have a hard time with agency and making their own decisions in life. They're going to rely constantly on other people to tell them what to do. I'm getting sidetracked, but but you understand my point. It's like there's a certain, like if you're going through this, you already know it. It's like maybe some people told you, like gave you advice in the past, like, like I was in a relationship that was really toxic. And I had friends who would say things like, I don't like the way he talks to you, or I don't like what he said, or, like things like that. And I would, on the one hand, I would defend him. And on the other hand, in my head, I was like, well, they don't know. They don't know how terrible I am to be with. They don't know what he has to put up with, and all of this like self-deprecating stuff, so that I couldn't actually hear what they were saying. I had to get to that point on my own to be like, oh, wait, he treats me like shit. Why do I accept this? But it was a conclusion I had to come to on my own, right? There's certain things that we just have to process on our own in solitude, right? We have to do it in like times of reflection and introspection. And like, we just can't hear other people's opinion. Like, the advice just falls on deaf ears, right? So there could be people like that in your life. I mean, like people like me, when I couldn't hear the advice of my friends, I couldn't hear there were no warning bells. I was just like, I was in too deep. So just understand that like, you only need to live your own life. you can't live other people's lives for them. So sometimes, even if you feel like they're wrong, even if you think their perspective is distorted or just like, just like they're not seeing things clearly, sometimes you just got to let it go. So maybe that you relate to that. Maybe there are people like that in your life, that are just set in their ways, and you just got to, in love, give them the space to just figure it out on their own. But that also is going to give you time if you are putting less energy into worrying about other people or trying to win a battle where there are no winners. It's a no-win situation is really what this card is. And that's, I think of this card when it comes in the reverse as it is of walking away from those situations, of just being like, you know what, there are better places and situations for me to put my energy into, which is that the time for self-reflection and introspection. And so yeah, like I said, if you are in a romantic relationship, always use your best judgment. I'm not telling you to leave that person. I'm just saying that make sure that you are making the time for yourself. Don't, or even if it's not like, you don't have to be in a romantic relationship for that. But if you are always the person that people are like calling on for help or for support, and you're always the one who's there for other people, it's like, make sure that you are being there for yourself. Balance is always a good thing, but this should be a priority, is what I'm getting from these cards. So let's see what is going on with career and finances. We have Judgment. Wow. Interesting. So this is my higher calling card. This could literally be taken more literally in the sense of judgment. Like maybe you are up for a promotion, or you are like, or even just interviewing and you're like waiting to hear the conclusion that was reached, hearing the judgment of what the results are. But it could also be literally getting a call about a new opportunity for this area of your life. But what I'm really getting for most of you, the deeper meaning of this card is like, with all this energy of like healing and releasing the past so that you can move towards this new beginning, this uncharted territory. I do believe that your career is somehow related. And maybe this is, maybe you have a job that's just like a job. And this might be something on the side that can have the potential to become a source of income, at least supplemental, or if not to replace your job at some point. Or this could be like your job, like maybe you will have an opportunity to align your higher purpose, your soul purpose, what you are feeling deeply called towards, finding alignment, finding a way to align those two things. So yeah, that's my higher calling card. So that's like really exciting to see. Let's go ahead and get a card for spirituality and personal growth. Actually, before I do that, I do also want to say that in the context of what you need to know, like doing this, allowing yourself to be present, allowing yourself to be in the in-between, but also releasing your fear about moving into the unknown, this sort of open energy of, just like I said, of allowing yourself to be open to feeling emotions, of, that being present allows you to receive opportunities like that. So that is one way of interpreting this card, is to be open so that you can hear your higher calling, so that you can stay in tuned with like the synchronicities that are like directing you towards what this opportunity could be. But for others of you, I do feel like it is necessary to say that maybe you do need to consider whether your career, whether your job is in alignment with you. Like maybe that is what you need to know. Maybe that is what you need to consider. And, that's not to say like put your 2 weeks notice in if your job is not aligned for you, but like open yourself to start considering it. Because like right now you are in the in-between. Although for some of you, it's like some of you have that like extra push of like, it's time to start moving forward. But since, like I said, that card came out sideways, I'm not going to, like it can go either way. And you just have to trust what you're feeling to know which it is. But some of you, it may be important to start considering whether your job is like, that's where you want to be, whether it's in alignment for you, with your higher purpose. Maybe if you don't know what your higher purpose is, this process, this is what this time is for you to figure that out so that you can move forward more like yourself in alignment. Okay, so now with that being said, let's move on to spirituality and personal growth. Although I really feel like this energy or those cards already sort of addressed where you are, but let's just see what else you might need to know. Wow, we have the moon. So yeah, in this case, I'm getting like, do that shadow work. It is like, on the one hand, it's more of that energy of like entering into the unknown. Like these cards have very similar energy when it comes into that. But and the moon card is sometimes associated with fear, fear of the unknown. But it also has that element of facing your unconscious mind. At least this is how I interpret the card, is that it's important to integrate the unconscious elements, allow them to become conscious. And that is what this is. It's like, if you don't really, like there is a barrier between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. And that barrier is a language barrier. Like you can't just be like, oh, what's going on in my unconscious mind? Let me take a look. Like it's not so simple because they're separated by a language barrier. So I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully that's a simple enough explanation. But if you're not sure where to begin, just being in this space of being open to allow those emotions to come through can be a starting point. Your dreams can also be a starting point. And that's not in the sense of like getting a dream book and like, what does teeth falling out mean? It's more, it's much more, your dreams are always going to be much more personal than any dream book is going to be able to help you with. Unfortunately, it'd be nice to just consult a manual, but that's just like, which this card, it's like only you know what's right for you. And that's, like the struggle of life is when you have to figure out things on your own. But the more in alignment you become, the less scary it is to move into those territories. So yes, what you need to know about your spirituality and personal growth is, one, to face your fear of entering into the unknown, but also maybe work on shadow work. If people rub you the wrong way, that's also a really good way to a good starting point for this self-reflection, is when people rub you the wrong way, like on a deep level, in a way that is like more than makes sense. You know what I mean? I don't know how to say that better. It's like when something shouldn't be a big deal, but you just can't let it go because that person irritates you so much. It's like, take a look at that, because that's your shadow like yelling at you. And people often act as mirrors to us. So any conflict, any, you know, and that's not to say like you should feel bad about, like if other people are like being rude towards you, like that's a reflection of you. It's I don't know how to express that, like, or how to explain that as clearly, but it's just highlighting areas within yourself that need healed. It's not like to make you like you deserve to be treated rudely by other people or anything like that, but like there could be something there that your shadow is like trying to communicate to you. So let's go ahead and get one more tarot card for some guidance. Oh, this card like tumbled, so I'm not really sure. This is another one of, do I read it upright? Do I read it reversed? I mean, honestly, most of the time the upright sort of contains this like similar messages of the reverse. But Three of Cups is, to me, it's just celebration. Celebrating friendships, celebrating, just being able to have that sort of lightness and joyful energy. In the reverse, I mean, maybe that's something you're struggling with right now. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense if you're going through a period of heart healing that you might be struggling with that. But hopefully, like, this can encourage you to remember that it's also important to spend time just in gratitude and feeling optimistic about things. It's like working through old emotions, unhealed pain from the past, trauma, whatever level of healing you are going through. It can definitely be a bleak, difficult process. But the whole point of that is to be able to enter in this lightness. Like, if you are trying to push those unpleasant emotions aside so that you can go about life in a happy, joyful manner, it tends to lead to an unfulfilling way of living, because it's more superficial. It's like only on the superficial level that you're able to have this energy. Whereas like if you are completely in alignment, if you allow yourself to find your personal truth, to, let go of all of those past experiences and work through those emotions, you will feel this not only on like a superficial level, but a deep sense of joy, a deep sense of gratitude for life, and just, so it's important that you're not just trying to stay in like this overly optimistic energy. I think also with this card potentially coming out in the reverse is along those same lines, is to avoid toxic positivity. Like, there's so much out there of like spiritual stuff, of positive thinking, and like different, I don't know the different schools of thought, what those would be classified as. And I feel like what they have to say is genuinely positive, like as in like helpful. But at the same time, especially when things get shortened to little sound bites and reels on Instagram or TikTok, and like those little out of context snippets, it's like people fail to address. Like, I feel like this a lot of the way in law of attraction, is that people often talk about how in order to manifest what you want, you need to be in that energy of it having already happened. And so if we are going through something like this, where we are having difficult emotions surface that are asking to be like felt and processed so that they can be released, there can be a lot of fear for someone who is trying to manifest to be like, oh no, I'm not in the energy, I'm not in alignment, or, you know, whatever. And so they feel like they need to maintain this positivity and this optimism at all times. And it's like, no, no, you don't. That is not helpful. What you are actually doing when you do that, even if you mean well, even if you're trying to be optimistic, you are burying that stuff. You are repressing it. It is not, you know, you're not letting it go. Like, and that's the same with things in your present day-to-day life. It's like, if something irritates you and you're like, oh, I'll just let it go, it's not that big of a deal, you know, I should be the mature one in this situation or whatever, you're not letting it go. We say let it go, but what you're really doing is repressing it. It's like, allow yourself to feel it. And like with situations like this too, where you have to literally walk away from a situation, that's not to say don't allow yourself to feel upset about it. But when you're in one of these situations, we tend to respond in reaction to the energy that people are giving us. So if someone is being negative, we get negative. If someone's grumpy with us or rude to us, we want to be grumpy and rude back to them. And that's when you're like, no, let's not do that. Allowing yourself to feel and acknowledge your emotions, accepting your emotions instead of denying and repressing them, does not mean that you have to communicate your anger to another person, or like, you know, whatever situation it is. You don't have to do that. You just have to be like, I'm angry right now. I feel angry. You know, like, and just sit with it. Allow yourself to sit with it instead of trying to resist it. Accept that you are angry. So you feel angry. Okay. Once you do that, instead of like, I'm angry, so I got to do something. I'm angry, so I got to, you know, break shit or throw, you know, throw a tantrum or yell at someone or whatever. It's like, no, just sit with it. And when you accept it without judgment of like, oh no, I shouldn't be angry. Just, I'm angry. That's what it is. I accept that I'm angry. Once you do that, it actually starts to transform. It is as simple as that. I mean, obviously, different situations are going to have, you know, different levels of how we're affected by them. But don't feel like you need to stay. I'm actually going to put this in the reverse. Don't feel like you need to stay in this positive energy all the time. If you're not feeling positive, that's okay. Let yourself feel it, because you will get back to this genuinely in like a very real sense faster if you just let yourself feel the negative emotions, accept them, and process them so that you can get back to this. But if you're trying to force this, then it's not helpful. So maybe I'll leave that in the reverse. It literally like went like this and landed sideways. So I wasn't sure which way to take it, but we'll do that as a reminder to not get sucked up in that false positivity, the toxic positivity. It's like, it's great to have gratitude. It is great to, you know, look at the opportunities and positive aspects of any situation, but you should never do it at the expense of feeling what you need to feel, of being honest about where you are, what you're going through. Because if you try to force that false sense of positivity, you not only are not allowing yourself to heal and to live in alignment, but you are stunting your own growth. It's just it's just limiting the levels of your experience to superficiality. I feel like even without as many cards, I've still ranted quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a few of these lyric cards to end us off. And maybe let's get an affirmation or two as well. Don't ever give up. Dope. And are you ready to run as fast as you can? I do feel like that's the thing, is like, if you feel like you've been in this in-between period for a while, it can make you feel impatient. And, and maybe you are some of the ones that, like the reverse meaning might be true, where it is time to move forward. But what am I trying to say here? But when you stop resisting, when you just accept, like, oh, maybe I'm in this in-between period because I have things from the past that I need to come to terms with. I have feelings, emotions that I need to process and release. It will actually, like, think about it as like struggling to run with a lot of weight, carrying a lot of heavy stuff. It's like you drop that if you actually pause for a moment, stop trying to push things forward and like force things, and drop that weight, and then things will speed up a lot. So I don't know, maybe someone needed to hear that, but let's go ahead and end with an affirmation. I won't give up. Okay. I mean, don't give up. I won't give up. All right. A little redundant, but I guess that's just the energy. It really wants you to not give up. Even if you get overwhelmed with emotions, even if the process is difficult and painful, it is totally worth it. So that is what I have for you. I hope that this made sense. I hope that this was helpful. Let me know in the comments if this resonated, and if any of these match with like anything in particular, like connected for you. I would be really curious to hear that. But yeah, thanks so much. I'll see you guys next time.